when I was away at sea, I used to make an allotment for my mum. I don't mean an allotment for growing vegetables. They used to call it an allotment. It's a proportion of your wages gets sent home to your mother. I suppose it's a way of saving, although she used to spend my money. And yeah, so all my friends at the time used to think, "Oh, John's making good money. He's in the Merchant Navy and that." But I wasn't making good money. It wasn't that great. I mean, it was better than being a painter and decorator and staying at home, but it wasn't that great. And what money I finally used to come home with, I'm afraid, very often was gone before I'd even got home. In the pubs, places like that. And so yeah, so I was always broke. And this one time I was totally broke, and I went to live with this young lady in near Aberdeen, and we lived in a trailer caravan park thing. And what you would do is, if you had no money, what you do is, if you wanted electricity, you had to put a shilling in the meter. And I discovered, well, I mean, it's quite simple really. You could take the meter, I could unlock the meter, get the money out, and then I could put it back in. No, I didn't actually unlock it. I just sort of messed about with a knife and got me shilling out again, and then I put it back in, so I had a constant supply of electricity. I suppose it's stealing, but I had every intention of, when the man came round to empty the meter, I had every intention of having enough money to pay it, reimburse him. I didn't think it was a big deal really, until one day the police came on the site and they were checking everyone's meter. And when they came to check mine, they found that there was only a shilling in it, but it showed that I'd used, maybe a fiver's worth of electricity. And the reason the police were there was because someone had been on site and had broken into a load of meters, actually broken in and stolen all the money. And because they knew me from little altercations and such, and because my meter was empty apart from this one shilling, I was accused of being the culprit responsible for all the meter thefts, which it wasn't me, I promise. No, I wasn't a tea leaf. I mean, I was a bit of a chancer maybe, but I wasn't, an out and out thief. And yeah, because when you're brought up in children's homes, I mean, I don't know if this applies to everyone, but certainly to me, you're taught to be God-fearing. You wouldn't do anything. No, you wouldn't do anything that God would disapprove of. So anyway, I'd got to that stage of my life, and I'd been in trouble, plenty of trouble, but it wasn't for stealing. But anyway, yeah, to get back to it, the police the police, they took me in and put me in a cell. This was in a place called Blackburn, a village outside of Aberdeen, a little village called Blackburn, just outside Aberdeen. And well, I say it's a village, it's or a town, Blackburn. Well, it's on the outskirts of Aberdeen. Maybe it's part of Aberdeen. Anyway, they had this police station, and I was in the police station and being questioned about the meter theft. Look, we know you did it, John. We know you did it. Just own it. I wouldn't own up to it. Well, why should I? I hadn't done it. Eventually they resorted, as they always used to in those days, resorted to violence. Give you, you know, a few slaps, punches. Well, they don't give a fuck in those days. There was no cameras to record everything. And eventually, after I'd been beaten up quite a bit and my mouth was bleeding and I was in a bad way, so I just said, "Oh yes, I did it." I said, "I need to see a doctor." I said, "I'm bleeding here, and I've got a condition that requires immediate assistance if I bleed." I didn't know what I was talking about, but I just wanted them to stop fucking hitting me. And anyway, the doctor came and examined me and, you know, tidied me up and everything. And then said, "What is this condition you've got?" I said, I haven't got a condition. I just said that. I just wanted them to stop fucking hitting me. So yeah, anyway, so there's no more hitting because I'd already confessed to it. I said I did it, and I had to go to the Sheriff's High Court, Sheriff Hamilton again, my old friend. And when I got there, I said, I pled guilty at first, but as it was going on, I said, I want to plead not guilty. I'm not guilty. I didn't do this. And the sheriff said, "No," he said, "You've pled guilty. You've pled guilty." They wouldn't let me change. I suppose, I don't know, if you plead guilty, I suppose you can't change to not guilty once you're in court. I don't know the ins and outs of it. So anyway, yeah, so I got thievery on my long list of criminality, and it really hurt me badly because I you know, I wasn't a thief. Yeah, I can't remember. I think I got probation in the end. It's so difficult because sometimes, you know, when I think about things in Aberdeen and then I think, well, I went to London, and I remember having a probation officer in London, Mr. Record. Mr. Record was a black man, and I hadn't met many black people then, and I remember being surprised. I know it sounds awful. I remember being surprised at what a nice man he was. He was a really lovely bloke. Mr. Record, Brixton Probation Office. I think this is how anyway, I was there down there, and I was now a convicted thief, and after that I thought, well, fuck you lot. If I'm now a thief, I'll be a thief. And that led to I'm ashamed of some things I'd done. This was a robbery. This was a while after it, and yeah, yeah, some things I don't really want to talk about, but I'm going to, because it's all part of my life story, and all this is going to one day the kids might be interested in it. But anyway, up until that point I hadn't been a thief. Thieving was very, very wrong. And believe it or not, I was quite a God-fearing young man. I used to always, when I was in court, my heart would be thump, thump, thump. I don't know if you've ever been to court. I mean, you've got a bloody judge with a wig on, and you're thinking, oh, am I going to go to Nick? Am I going to go to Nick? And your heart, bang, bang, bang. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think I was really a criminal. I mean, if I told you some of the things that had happened to me in my childhood prior to this, if I told you some of the things that had happened, you wouldn't be surprised that I went off the rails. Anyway, I'm going to show you a bit of this carving. I'm doing the chamfering. I'll show you this bit. This is what I do. I'll show you this one from the start. I'll bring it up there, see if you can see it a bit. I've drawn that, and then I like that, and then just a question of like that. I hope you can see this. Hang on. Just a question of doing that, and then you cut it out like that. And then when you've done the whole lot, you get that, and you sand it down, and eventually you get what I've done on the wagon. And every one of these, here's one I did earlier. Every one of these is cut out by hand. I started off doing it with a Stanley knife, which is all right. And then Jodie said, "What would you like for Father's Day, Dad?" And this is what I got. A carving knife, a wood carver's knife, proper, and it's really, really sharp, and it does a fantastic job. That's it. Thanks for listening. Hope you're not too shocked, but you know, I'm 78 years old. I've led my life, I've led a life. Things happened, and that's it. Thanks for listening. I hope I see you again soon. Don't think bad of me. You know, things happen. Nobody's perfect. I've made up for it since, I promise you. See you later. Bye bye.